Welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, the place where emotion meets reality and where every untold celebrity story finds its voice. Today, we step into the world of Baris Baktaş and Yagmar Yüksel, two names that, for many, once redefined what romance could look like under the flash of cameras and the weight of expectation. After months of quiet, Yagmar's heartfelt confession about her former partner has once again pulled their story out of memory and back into the present. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, tap the like button, and click join to support our growing community. Now, let's begin this tender journey together. In a world where fame amplifies everything and erases nothing, Yagmar Yüksel's recent words about Baris Baktaş felt like a gentle voice cutting through the clatter of celebrity chatter. Appearing on a special television program, poised and luminous as ever, she allowed herself to speak not as a headline, but as a woman still shaped by a love that mattered. Her smile was small, a little fragile, and the honesty in her tone disarmed the studio and everyone watching at home. When the host asked what love meant to her now, Yagmar didn't rush. She inhaled slowly, searched the air for the right words, and answered with a softness that stilled the room. Sometimes, she said, someone walks into your life and becomes more than a partner, they become your friend, your shelter, your home. All eyes stayed on her. Every phrase landed like a note from a song everyone knew but had forgotten how to sing. She continued, choosing each syllable as if it might break, and yet refusing to hold back. Finding someone who loves like Baris is rare, she admitted. It was never about polishing the edges to look perfect. It was about being accepted, on the days I shined and on the days I walked through shadows. He held space for both. The hush that followed wasn't emptiness. It was the sound a heart makes when it recognizes truth. Even the crew, so used to performance and pretense, seemed taken by the sense that this moment was unguarded, almost private. Her reflections didn't end there. With a steadiness that only comes from living through the long nights, she spoke about what tested them, the distance created by sets in different cities, the hours that swallowed weekends, the relentless scrutiny that dulled the joy of simple moments. Like anyone else, we stumbled, she acknowledged. But he didn't let go of my hand just because it trembled. What emerged wasn't a story about endings, but about learning, about two people who tried to carry their tenderness through storms without losing its essence. She described Baris as a man who remained when the world felt heavy, a man who understood that strength could be quiet and that love is sometimes just staying when it would be easier to leave. He taught me to be patient, she added. He reminded me that love isn't a fairy tale. It's choosing each other when the fairy tale stops making sense. Those sentences leapt from the screen and moved through phones overnight. Within hours, phrases celebrating their bond trended across platforms. Fans resurfaced photos, stitched memories into videos, wrote long captions that sounded like letters never sent. One viewer posted, "You can see it in her eyes, it's not nostalgia, it's recognition." Another wrote, "That's what love looks like when it's real, unedited, imperfect, and still worth holding." It wasn't just a comment, it was a spark that reignited a story many thought had faded to ash. Later in the program, the host asked for a memory that never left her, and Yagmar's expression softened. She spoke about the first moment she met Baris, how their eyes found each other in a crowded room and something inside her relaxed before she could explain why. It felt familiar, she confessed. Like my heart knew where to go before my mind caught up. From the very beginning, there was a surprising ease between them. No need to perform. No need to impress. With him, I could be myself, she said, and for anyone listening closely, that sentence said more than any grand proclamation ever could. Unlike the romances that flare bright and burn out under rumors and rehearsed denials, the connection between Yagmar and Baris seemed to hold its shape even across distance. Entertainment columns once called them two souls walking different roads under the same sky, and perhaps that description has never felt more precise than it does now. In her final words on the program, Yagmar left little doubt about the depth of what she felt. Everyone deserves a Baris in their life, someone who shows you that love isn't about flawless moments, but about being truly seen, even in the quiet. Not long after the cameras cut, whispers began to circle that Baris himself had heard every word. Close sources revealed that he was moved, quietly but unmistakably. To those who know him well, he reportedly said, "I only ever wanted to give her the love she needed. She's the most real thing I've had." His line was short, but it carried the same stripped-back sincerity that had defined their story from the start. The next morning, his Instagram lit up with a black and white photo, no faces, only sunlight on a windowsill and a soft smile caught at the edge of a frame. The caption read, "Sometimes a smile holds more than a paragraph." It took minutes for followers to read it as an answer, a gentle reply to a confession that deserved one. Outside the studio, when the night had settled and the lights were slowly dimming, Yagmar stepped into the crisp air and found reporters waiting. Her eyes were bright, not from tears exactly, but from the ache that lingers after you speak a truth you've kept in your pocket too long. Someone called out, "Have you spoken to Baris after what you said?" She paused, let a small smile surface, and replied, "Not yet. But I think he's smiling somewhere." The line felt like a message in a bottle, not a promise, not denial, but a recognition that the thread between them still exists, invisible and unbroken. From there, speculation moved like wind. Had they seen each other recently? Were they on the verge of trying again? Friends close to the couple murmured that the two had been spotted at a private birthday gathering just weeks ago, the kind of party where the music is low and the laughter is honest. A producer friend who attended shared quietly, they barely needed words. The chemistry was there, alive and effortless. You could feel the room shift when they stood side by side. With Yagmar's confession now echoing across timelines, those whispers grew louder. The internet returned to a familiar question: are Baris and Yagmar finding their way back to each other? Fuel only gathered. A friend of Baris confided to reporters, "When he's with Yagmar, there's a calm in him. He listens more. He breathes differently. She brings out the part of him that's gentle and grounded." Whether that means a reunion is in motion remains unknown, but one thing is hard to deny: their narrative now feels bigger than two people learning how to love and let go. It's become a shared hope, a reminder that affection can survive time zones, headlines, and the quiet that follows a goodbye. By the end of the evening, one line from the interview had already become the quote of the night. "It's hard to find a man who loves like Baris." Fans wrote it again and again, not as an idolization, but as an acknowledgement that love of that kind is rare because it is forgiving. Even the tabloids, usually quick to turn softness into spectacle, lingered on the humanity of it all. Commentators described her candor as a nod to love that refuses to curdle into resentment. For once, the loudest voices weren't mocking, they were moved. When dawn came, morning shows across Turkey replayed her words on a loop, pausing the footage to dissect every look, every breath before speech, every pause that felt like an unspoken sentence. Hosts declared that this was not a publicity play, but emotion stripped of its armor. The tremor in Yagmar's voice, the quiet way she held her hands, and the vulnerable smile that kept tugging at her mouth reminded so many viewers that behind glitter and applause are the same human needs all of us carry: to be loved, to lose and find ourselves, to hold on, and possibly, to begin again. At Turkish Spotlight Secrets, we can't help asking the question out loud: are we witnessing the first lines of a second chapter for Baris and Yagmar? What do you think? Do you believe in second chances, in love that learns and tries again without pretending the past didn't happen? Tell us down in the comments. We love reading your thoughts, and we love this community that meets each week to share them. And while you're there, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit join to become part of a family that celebrates stories straight from the heart. Because in the end, love, with all its complexity, is one of the few threads that tie us to each other. Maybe that's why Yagmar's confession wandered through so many homes last night and refused to leave. It wasn't a performance, it was a truth, carried carefully in both hands. As her words ripple through screens and settle into the quiet places where we keep our own memories, one thought keeps surfacing: some stories don't need a perfect ending to be unforgettable. Sometimes the fact that they were real is enough to keep them alive in us. Before we go, let's sit with the image of that black and white photo on Baris's page: a glint of light on a sill, a curve of a smile, and a caption that said more than it showed. Sometimes, the smallest gesture echoes the loudest. Sometimes, a single smile holds a room full of meaning. Thank you for watching Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Until we meet again, keep believing in love, keep choosing kindness, and remember, there are moments when the quietest look says everything words cannot.